So as we begin working with linear functions, we're going to start utilizing the rate of change or slope. We have discussed it and used it, carrying forward some of that knowledge that we learned in previous years. But we will really start to look at slope as a ratio of rise over run. Or slope is the rate of change, and the rate of change shows that relationship between two changing quantities. And when those quantities depend on each other, for example, when we have that x and y, the input and output, those things depend on each other. So we will examine this and look at the rate of change in different ways. But slope is going to be my rate of change, and then slope is the ratio of the rise over run, or the way the information is changing. So let's see here. If we look at finding the rate of change using a table, the table shows the distance a band marches over time, and is the rate of change in the distance with respect to time constant. Now we talk about constant rate of change. So is it changing the same each time? And then what does the rate of change represent? Well, in order to figure out if it's changing over time, what we have to do is figure out this difference. So if I were to take one distance, so if I take 520 and I minus the previous distance of 260, and then I take, that is the amount of their run, and then the rise was 2 minus 1, because there you go, 520, 400, or 260, so that becomes 260 divided by 1. Now if I take two more points, take 780 and then 520, and I have 780 over 3 minus 520, 2, and I am going to have again 1 in the denominator and 260. And then finally, if I take this last set of values, and I have 1040 minus the previous term, and that again is going to give me 260 over 1. So that rate of change is constant because it continues happening. And then in that case, I know that I should be looking at that as my rate of change. My rate of change is going to be something along the lines of 260, and that is distance, right? So that is 260 feet per minute, right? Because we are traveling that distance in a minute. So there we go. That's interpreting what my rate of change is. And that rate of change is for 260 feet in 1 minute. And it says here, do you get the same ratio of change if you use non-consecutive rows? Well, if I were to use this row and this row, those are not consecutive because there's something in between them. And I take 1040 minus that two terms before it, 520, or 2, I get 2 in the denominator, and then I end up getting 520. And then when I go to simplify that more, I end up with 260 divided by 1, or 260 feet again per 1 minute. So it looks like, since it's a constant rate of change, it didn't matter if I took more than one of the values as long as I simplified properly. Now, moving on to using a graph, finding slope using a graph. Well, now we said that slope is going to be rise over run. And if you really want to think about that, that is the change in y over the change in x, and that is delta for change. So if we look at this and we take this first example, and I'm looking at the rise, well, if I pick this point right here, in order to move upward so I can get to that next point, because I'm going to map it, I'm going to map and I'm going to figure out going from here to here, what is my what is my rise over run? So I'm going to have to go up here, and I'm going to have to run over here. So in doing so, it looks like I have gone up 2 points. So I have gone up 2, and it looks like I'm also going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I am going to go right 5. So then my rise over run is 2 over 5. So there you go. My slope is 2 over 5. Looking at B now, B, I'm going from this point to this point. It looks like I go down. I'm going to go down 2. So rise over run. So since that's my rise, right, it's just going downward. I'm going to go down 2. Since I'm going down, it's negative. And then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So I have negative 2 over 6. So that simplifies down to negative 1. Negative 1 over 3. So there you go. There's my slope for B. And then my slope for A. And this next question, well, isn't the right question for what I need you to look at. But in part B of problem 2, pick 2 new points on the line to find the slope. Do you get the same slope? Well, the graph doesn't get big enough for me to get the length, or doesn't get larger, but I might be able to turn around and say, well, it looks like that point's on the line. So if I were to use that point is going to be 0, 1. And then if I use that point to get to this point, now I am going to end up going down 1 and then right 3. So it looks like when I do this one, the change is going down 1 and then right 3. So sure enough, I get the same slope as long as I'm using points that are on the line. So as we continue using slope, and now we're going to do it a little bit more algebraically, and we are going to use the slope formula, and that is going to be the vertical change or the rise over the run, and the slope formula looks like this. Well, slope is equal to, we're going to say m, that's what we often see in our slope-intercept form equation, and that is going to be the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that is identifying the change as y. The change is y goes from one y to the other y, and then the change is x goes from one x to the other x. So when we use this formula, what we want to do here is let's identify this is x1, y1, x2, y2. And what that subcategory there, what that subscript of 1 and 2 means is those are just the identifiers. This is going to be one ordered pair, and this is going to be another ordered pair, and it doesn't matter which one that you pick to be the first or the second, as long as you make sure that you keep, your subscripts together, you're okay. So when I go to fill this equation in, I have m is going to be equal, now y2 is going to be negative 2 minus y1, which is going to be 0, divided by the change in x, and that is going to be x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is negative 1, and we end up with 2 divided by 4, because 3 minus a negative becomes a positive, and that will simplify down to 1/2. So the slope between those 2 points is 1/2. We don't need to graph them, but if we were to graph them, let's see, could we count that out? Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, and graph those points. I have negative 1 and 0, and I have 3 and negative 2. So if I were to graph that line, didn't mean to do that, and just count my points. Looks like when I go from this point up, I go up 2. So I'm going to go up 2, and I'm going to go left 5. Oh, and that seems right. So we have a, does that seem right? Yeah, I really don't think that seems right because we didn't go left 5. We went left 4, which is going to be equal to negative 1/2. So there you go. That is my change according to my slope formula. Now we'll add the state of Mississippi expects you to know the slope formula because they do not provide you a copy of that on your state test formula sheet. It's one of those things that should be easy enough for us to remember with enough use. So we have slope is going to be equal to x1, y1, x2, y2, and that is going to be equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is going to be negative 1 minus y1 is going to be 3 all over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 1, and we end up with negative 4 over 3. There you go. So we have a slope of negative 4/3. Let's see here. Finding the slopes of horizontal lines and vertical lines. Well, we've talked some in class that a horizontal line, you need to know what a horizontal line is. It looks like that. Vertical line, up and down. And so we can use the slope formula to calculate these and show what we may or may not know about them. And so we have x1, y1, x2, y2, and I have m equals to y2, which is 2 minus negative 3, y1 minus y2 over x1, or x2, which is going to be 4, minus 4, which is going to be 5 over 0, and that is also called an undefined number. It's I spelled that wrong. Undefined because we can't have a 0 in the denominator. Believe it or not, that makes an incredibly large number, and that's why we're unable to use that as a 0. It's inconceivable. So that is an undefined number, but if we just look at it as a change in y over a change in x, doing my slope, I'll use this example over here because there it is. If I start here, and how many times do I go up? I go up 1 or 5, and then how many times do I go over? I go over 0. Then I go up again, and I go over 0. Then I go up again, and I go over 0. So I'm never moving right or left. That's why it's a vertical line. And now when I look at this next one, it's probably going to be the example of a horizontal line. But m is going to be equal to x1, y1, x2, y2. So we're going to have negative 3 minus negative 3. And that is going to be equal to 5 minus a negative 1. And then we end up with 0 over 6. And that is equal to 0. Now when we look at 0 on a horizontal line right here, if I start off right here and I go 1, and then I go 2, I'm just running straight across. I go up none, I'm going over. So in doing so now I created a vertical line. And a vertical line has a slope of 0 because I rose 0, but I ran something. So there you go. That's how we look at the slope of those special cases of horizontal and vertical lines. Here's a quick summary of what we know about slopes, that a slope that appears to be going like this, and this, as I read it from left to right, is going in a positive direction, then that is a positive slope. If I'm reading from left to right and it is going downward, then that is a negative slope or a negative and then the line with a slope of 0 is horizontal. So if you see a horizontal line you know that that is going to be a slope of 0, where undefined is going to be a vertical line going up and down. And now the one question I would think of is, what methods can you use to find the slope of a line defined by 2 given points? And so what did we do here when I was given 2 points? Was I was able to use my formula, but I could substitute points into the formula. I could also plot those points on a coordinate plane and count the rise over run between those 2 points. And I think we did both of those in this example. So again, a lot of this stuff may be still be a little bit of review from you for 8th grade, but it doesn't matter. We're all going to be working on it and doing our best.